Hello, my dear friend. Today we are discussing one new chapter that is in the series of Re-Neet examinations. That chapter name is Simple Harmonic Motion (SHM). In this chapter, we are discussing some important concept as well as previous year questions. This chapter contribute 3 questions in last NEET examinations. So let's go with the first concept, the first slides. Okay. In the first slide, we are talking about the linear SHM, linear simple harmonic motion. In the linear simple harmonic motion, the restoring force accelerating acting on the particle should always be proportional to the displacement of particle and directed towards the equilibrium position. What this mean? This mean that whenever we are talking about the spring block system, whenever I am talking about spring block system, so in this system, the spring is connected with the block that is mass m. Okay, so this diagram is showing the same thing, right? This is the equilibrium position where displacement is 0, where F is 0, force is 0, and acceleration of particle is 0. But this is the spring constant K. But whenever I apply the force F this side, the spring is elongated till this point. So this is the elongation of a spring, that is x equal to plus a. Okay, and we can say that this is the position, that is the extreme position, and whenever I release from here, this is the extreme mean position. Okay, so we can say that this side F is equal to, we can say that how much, that is plus kx, or we can say that x equal to how much, that is minus a displacement in this side, right? But whenever I draw the phasor diagram of the same thing, see this phasor diagram. So these are the phasor. Whenever I talking about the displacement of particle, that is r is equal to a, right? That is omega t. The displacement of particle is omega t, and whenever the particle is moving at angle phi, some this angle phi, so this is theta, and this is again r is equal to a. So we can say that, and this point is how much, that is y, and this is x. So we can say that the sine theta, sine omega t plus phi, theta means sine omega t plus phi, that is equal to how much, that is y by a. Okay, so y is equal to a sine omega t plus phi. This is the displacement equation of simple harmonic motion. Okay, now we are going towards the next concept here. The next concept, see here, whenever we are talking about differential equation of simple harmonic motion, the F is the, we can say that F is the force applied by the spring force, and F is proportional to minus x is the displacement of a spring. So we can say that F is equal to minus k into x. Why negative in the case of spring force? Because spring is always applied opposite direction with respect to the applied force. That's why we are taken the displacement of a spring will be negative, right? Spring force is always in negative direction. Now, so whenever I am putting F is equal to minus kx spring force, then F is equal to, due to Newton's second law, ma. So we are putting ma, so acceleration become this one, right? So this we know acceleration is equal to how much, that is the differential of second, you can say that the second order of differentiation with respect to time. Okay, so we can say that acceleration is equal to this. So this is the differential equation of SHM. Whenever I convert into this omega, then this k by m become omega. So omega square is equal to k by m. So omega is equal to root k by m. This formula is also very important. Many a time we are using this formula. So these are the condition. Okay. Now whenever I am talking about the velocity and acceleration of particles, so we already know about that x or y is equal to how much, a sine omega t. Okay. Here it is taken that a sine omega t plus phi. This is the displacement equation. Okay, so whenever I differentiate this, the differentiation of this will be how much, this is the differential equation, right? That is a omega cos omega t. And what is v max here? V max equal to how much, whenever the cos theta become maximum, cos theta maximum value become 1, so we can say that that is equal to a omega. Okay, so a omega, this is the a omega, right? Now what is the minimum value? That becomes the 0, because the cos, we can say that the 90 degree becomes 0, so at 90 degree the velocity is minimum. Now whenever I am talking about the acceleration of the particle, we are already getting the velocity, so acceleration is equal to dv by dt. Okay, so you differentiate the velocity a omega cos omega t plus phi. Whenever you differentiate with dt, so acceleration become how much, that is min omega square a sine omega t plus phi. This is the acceleration. And what is amax? The amax value become nothing but omega square x. This is the value, right? Now whenever I am talking about the maximum acceleration, that is the magnitude of this will be how much, omega square a. That is x means nothing but a value, right? Because x is the displacement, and that is equal to amplitude of the we can say that block, okay, spring block system. Now, when I talking about the energy equation of SHM, that is also very important topic. From this topic, last year, that last examination, 2 question asked. So let's see here. We can say that the potential energy is equal to how much? That is F is equal to minus du by dx. Okay, where F is how much? F is the spring force, that is kx minus kx. So minus become plus value. So this value become the potential energy, that is half kx square. The actually potential energy of the simple harmonic motion is equal to half kx square. These are the potential energy of this. Now, whenever you are putting the value of x here, because x equal to, that is we can say that x equal to a sine omega t. Whenever you put the value of x here, then this formula converted into this format, right? And this is the potential energy format. These are the graph of potential energy. Okay, so we can say that potential. Now, what is maximum potential energy? Maximum potential energy is equal to half ka square. Okay, now whenever I am talking about the kinetic energy, then kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. At the place of v, we are using the velocity formula, which I already derived. Then that is how much? A omega minus a omega cos omega t. Okay, plus a omega cos omega t, right? So these are the value. Whenever I put this value, then we are getting the final value, this one, a square cos square omega t. Okay, this value. Understood now? And these are the maximum kinetic energy. So potential energy and kinetic energy, you remember the graph of kinetic energy is this way. Now total energy is how much? Total energy is equal to sum of potential plus kinetic. Let's see. The total energy is equal to sum of potential plus kinetic. So total energy is half kx square potential energy plus this is kinetic energy. The total energy is this value. Now whenever I talking about the total energy, then I can say that here, that is total energy graph is look like this, means the total energy formula become this one. Okay, so total energy is the kinetic energy plus potential energy. Okay, now see here, whenever I talking about the graph of simple harmonic motion in a single graph, what are the graph of displacement or energy and displacement graph? So this is the potential energy already we derive, this is the kinetic energy we derive, and this is the kinetic energy already mentioned here, and potential energy mentioned here. Now this part where the energy will be 1/4, means half of the previous energy. Okay, these are the point. And the energy versus time, that is a time graph, this type. Okay, these are the, we can say that kinetic energy and potential energy graph. According to given equation, we are getting the graph value, and these are the relation between kinetic and potential energy. Now whenever I am talking about time period of a spring block system, the time period formula is T is equal to 2 pi root k by m. So m by k, sorry, root k m by k. We discuss this in the next block. Now spring block problem, right? Whenever I am talking about time is time, so suppose two spring are connected in series, so the combination of series formula become this, means k total means spring constant total we are finding with the similar to the parallel formula of a spring, right? And the formula become this one. This is the k equivalent. K equivalent is nothing but the series formula here, right? Whenever they are in parallel connection, then the formula of this will be similar to the series formula of the resistance, which we are studying in the current and electricity, right? So this formula become how much? Again, the formula of this time period are same, only the formula of spring parallel and series will be changed. So we can say that S parallel become how much? S parallel, k parallel become k1 plus k2. If 2 k is given to you, 2 spring is given to you, and k series become how much? That is k1 k2 by k1 plus k2. We are easily find by this way, right? Now we are discussing about the next point. Next point में linear SHM and angular SHM में difference. We are talking about the difference between these two. So here the force is converted into tau, okay, and displacement is converted into angular displacement, right? These are the formula. Here acceleration is converted into angular acceleration, and the similar thing is converted. This equation is also converted into some constant value. Now here the a is equal to omega square. Here a is equal to omega square t. Omega is converted into, that is c by t, right? And time period, now see this time period is also converted here. Everything is converted. You can see here. Now when I talking about the simple pendulum formula, simple pendulum formula, you just remember this formula, okay? Because length of the pendulum will be L, okay, and the G is the gravity. Here mass is not used. Mass not used. We can say that in one question in the previous year, we see that mass does not used, or we can say that mass of Bob does not depend on the time period, right? This is a very important formula. You see the derivation, F is equal to mg sin theta, because this side F and these are opposite forces. So mg sin theta, whenever the sin theta and this will be very small, theta is very small, this theta is very small, then sin theta is replaced by theta, and we can solve by this way, and finally we are getting the time period formula, right? Now I am discussing about the time period of the simple pendulum in the reference system. Means something system is given to you. So in that case, at the place of g, we are using g effective. Suppose example, when I am going in a lift, right? When the velocity of v constant, acceleration is constant, and g effective is equal to g. When velocity is constant, okay, and acceleration is 0, because at the constant velocity acceleration is always 0. So g effective value is equal to normal g, right? So we are putting the t is equal to 2 pi root L by G, simple thing. Now when the lift is moving in upward direction, when the lift is moving upward, so G effective is called how much? G plus A. So at the place of G effective, we are putting this. So time period decreasing. Why? Because denominator of the time will be decreasing here. Now whenever I am talking about this lift is going downward direction, then acceleration become negative. Okay, means G effective is decreasing. When the denominator decreasing, then time period is increasing, right? Now next point, we are talking about next point, that is one question is there, right? We are talking about one question. That question asks in 2026 NEET examinations, right? See this, the year is also mentioning to you here, this one, right? So whenever for the simple harmonic motion, the time period variation and kinetic energy is given to you, then represent which of the following graph represent this. So I already know that kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. At the place of v, we are putting the velocity formula. So we can say that is how much? A square omega square cos square omega t plus phi, right? So in this case, we know about that all the value means this half m a square omega square are constant value. So the kinetic energy is directly proportional to cos square, that is omega t plus phi. Now this function is the cos function, and the cos function graph is look like this, okay? But here the point says that cos square is there given to you, right? Whenever the cos square is given to you, that means the graph is always positive in nature, right? Now so this is not possible because this is a straight graph. This is also not possible because positive negative both are there. This is also not possible. Only graph C will be possible in this case, where we can say that the both graph is positive in nature, right? So we can say that kinetic energy and time graph is positive, right? Now we are going towards next question. In the case of next, the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy of simple harmonic motion is this. Means total energy is given to 0.02. Okay. Now the speed of simple pendulum bob equilibrium position is approximately. Whenever I am talking about the speed of that is in equilibrium position. Okay. So what are the speed of particle in equilibrium position? So at equilibrium position, we can say that because in the case of pendulum, in the case of pendulum problem, the potential energy of particle is 0. So the total energy is only due to the kinetic energy, right? Okay, because the movement of the pendulum will be there. Understood? So we are talking about this is how much? Half m v square is equal to how much? That is 0.02. So mass is already given to you in this 20. So you convert into the kg, that is 20 into 10 power minus 3. V square is equal to 0.02. So whenever I solve this become 10. So this become 10 minus 2 into v square, that is 0.02. So v square is equal to how much? 0.02 divided by 10 power minus 2. So v is equal to how much? That is, we can say that 2 here. So v is equal to root 2. That is how much? 1.414 is meter per second is the correct answer. So according to this, we can say that option number B is the correct option. Okay. Let's go with the next question. Now this question also asked in 26. Let's see. 3 question I am saying to you. The first is already we are doing this one. This is the first question. Okay. This is the second question. And this is the third question asking in 2026. So that we can say that chapter is very important for you, right? So once Avita, suppose she is the student, right? Class 11th student conducting an experiment to determine the effective length of simple pendulum. Actually, if you know the general length value of the simple pendulum is 1 meter. Okay, let's see. Maybe in this experiment the length of pendulum maybe changes, but let's see. We are trying to solve the problem. Although according to given option 1 is given to you, so we can go with the 1 also, right? But if you are not satisfied with the this conclusion, then we can solve by the method also, right? So whenever they say that the complete 30 revolution, 30 oscillation within a 60 second, means we are talking about that is 30 oscillation in 60 second. So we can say that one oscillation in how much? One oscillation in 60 by 30, that is how much? 2 seconds. Means one oscillation will be possible in 2 seconds. Means time is equal to how much? 2 seconds is given to you for one oscillation, right? and t is equal to, we know that time period root L by G. Okay, so they asked to you in this case length of pendulum, so we are squaring both sides. I squaring both side. Whenever I squaring both side, this is t square, that is 4 pi square L by G. Okay, so we can say that L is equal to t square G by 4 pi square, right? And here in the question, that pi square value and G value is given to you. So L is equal to how much? That is pi square is given, t square is given to 4 because t is 2, we are getting here, and G is how much? 9.8. Okay, this is 4 and pi square is 9.8. So if you cancel this all value, we can say that the length will be 1 meter. Now see, this length is 1 meter given to you. So this data is given to you in the question, that is standard data. If any other data is given to you, that is maybe the length will be changed here. Now might be that if data is something, then you can change the length also, right? Now see this one question asking in 2025 NEET examination. In this question they say that two identical masses P and Q are suspended with a, we can say that massless spring system of Canada, that is K1 and K2 respectively. Suppose this is one of the particle, that is mass M, right? Hana? This K1 is suspended here, mass of A is given to you, mass of P, sorry, P and Q, two particle, no? Okay, and second is also mentioning to you, that is mass of Q is given, this is Q2, that is K1 and K2 is mentioning to you, right? In this case they say that what is the amplitude of this, Hana? Okay, so we are finding amplitude ratio. That is very easy question. We know about that Vp maximum is equal to Vq maximum. Okay, means Vp and Vq are same, so we know about that the Vp omega A, the maximum value of velocity is equal to how much? Maximum value is equal to A omega and the AQ by omega Q, right? So AP by AQ is equal to omega Q by omega P. Now we already know that omega is equal to how much? That is K by M, root under K by M. So we can say that is K2 by M divided by K1 by M under root of this. So mm cancel out, and now we can say that is K2 by K1. I think this is the correct answer. Why? Because this, yeah, A1 by K2 and this is K2 by K1. Yeah, because omega 2 become related to this, so we can say that option number 1 is correct option according to the given question, right? The root under of K2 by K1 is the correct option right now, because this, no, that is okay. No, we can say that K1 by K2 is the correct option. So we can say that this is not a correct option. Option number B is correct one here, because this is inverse, right? Yeah. So K1 by K2 is the correct option according to the given option. We can say that option B is correct here. Okay. Now, so we can say that next question is, that is again next question asked in 2023. So see this in the 25 only one question asking from this part. So in this case the particle executing simple harmonic motion has same potential and kinetic energy, means the potential energy and kinetic energy are same, that is how much? Half k x square. This is given to you, and the total energy is equal to how much? That is E is equal to half k a square. So we can say that the kinetic energy is equal to how much? Because we know about that total is equal to kinetic plus potential. The kinetic is equal to total minus potential, right? So kinetic is equal to how much? Half k a square minus of half k x square, that is half of k into a square minus x square. Okay, and at the given condition we can say that kinetic and potential are same, so we can say that half k x square is equal to half k a square minus x square. Okay, so half k cancel out, that is x square plus ka 2, right? That is equal to a square. Okay, that is equal to a square. So we can say that x equal to how much? X equal to a by a square by 2 under root. So we can say that a by root 2 is the correct option. So we can say that C is the correct option for this. Now we are talking about next question. In next question they say that 2 dimension motion is there, R is given to you, right? R is something displacement, so I cap plus 2 j cap into a plus a into cos omega t. This is given to you, R vector is given. So they ask you what is the acceleration of this particle. So whenever I finding the acceleration here, so this is x component of this will be how much? A cos omega t I cap, right? And y component is equal to how much? That is 2a cos omega t j cap. This is 2 function. So we can say that y is equal to, because this is the double of this value, okay, nothing else, है ना. So we can say that this is how much, that is 2x, okay, or it is a path is straight line, okay. Y component means j cap means y component simply, okay. Y component, j cap means y component, and that is the x, I cap means that x component, okay. So it is a straight line path, right? So we can say that the motion is simple harmonic motion and periodic. Now straight line means it is a simple harmonic motion or periodic. So we can say that v is equal to, we can derive this dr by dt. So if I get the same equation, I plus 2j into how much, a omega sin omega t, okay, and acceleration become how much, that is d square r by dt square. We can say that I minus 2j a omega square cos omega t, okay, sin ka cos, yeah, correct one. So a is equal to minus omega square r vector. So this is the, we can say that this periodic motion, and this is the simple harmonic motion. Elliptical not possible, and the parabolic also not possible. So we can say that option number D is correct one, that is C and D is correct option 9. Now we are going towards next question. Now see this displacement is given to you, okay, and they asked you what are the amplitude and time period of this, right? So x equal to given to you 5 sine, that is pi t plus 5 by 3 meter, okay. So x equal to a sine, that is omega t plus 5, right? So here phi is equal to pi by 3, okay, and a is equal to 5. So in this case the amplitude become, this is mentioning meter, so either this one or this one is the correct option, right? So amplitude is equal to 5 meter. This 2 is wrong because that is mentioning in centimeter. Now what is the time period here? Time period के लिए we are talking about the omega. Omega is equal to how much? That is omega is equal to pi. So we know omega is equal to 2 pi by t, that is equal to pi cancel out. So t is equal to 2 seconds. So in this case we can say that option number B is correct option rather than other option, right? Now we are going towards next question. That again question asked in 2024. In this question they say that the mass of bob is thrice of original mass, means m1 is equal to 3 m2, okay. Although the we can say that time period of pendulum does not depend on mass, so it is useless, nothing valid for this formula, right? Length is half of this original, so L1 is equal to its length made half of its original, that is how much, L2 by 2, length become half, right? Then the new time period of this will be, so T1 is equal to how much, that is t, and T2 is equal to how much, that is x by 2 of initial, means t, x by 2 of t. Then what is the value of x here, okay? So again we are finding the value of x, that is 2 pi root L by g. This is the formula, basic formula is this, okay. Now we are applying T2 is equal to how much, that is 2 pi root L by g, and the L is equal to L by 2 na. So we are putting the same value, that is how much, this is x by 2 t, because time period is x by 2 t, that is equal to how much, 2 pi root L by 2 into g, right? So whenever I am talking about this x by 2t, that is 2 pi root L by 2g, right now. So here we can say that now we are squaring both sides. Whenever we are squaring, one thing we can say that this 2 pi root L by g means this is x by 2t, that is, you see this 2 pi root L by g means we can say that it is nothing but t by root 2. So t cancel out, okay, and this cancel out to root 2. So we can say that x equal to nothing but root 2 is the correct option. So we can say that this is the value, because why we are doing this thing, why we are converting into t. So we can say that t is equal to how much, this is given to you 2 pi root L by g into root 2, okay, that is 2 is given to you, right? So this is nothing but 1 by 2, that's why we are putting a root 2. So we can say that this is the correct option. Now next question asking in 2023, that is in Manipur examination. This type of question is also very similar to this. Now they say that the time period in air is equal to root 3 seconds, okay. The immerse into liquid, they are immersing into one liquid, so that liquid become how much, that is time period of liquid is 1/4 of, that is initial time period, 1/4 of initial time period, right? It means root 3, right now. And they say that the bob will be how much, the material of bob, and this we can say that liquid is given to you. So we suppose we can say that rho is the density of density of material. Okay, this density is given to you. They are asking to this. So density of material is given to you. That is 1 by 4, right now? Yeah. Density is given, and sigma is the density of bob. Bob means the small bob. So we can say that sigma is equal to this rho by 4. This is mentioning in the question. This one, 1/4, right? Now I am putting the G effective value. What is G effective? G effective is equal to G into, that is G into, we can say that 1 minus sigma upon rho. 1 minus rho upon sigma. Okay, because G effective is equal to how much? That is into G. So G minus G into sigma by rho. This is the formula. Okay, so we can say that G effective is equal to how much? That is G into 1 minus 1 by 4. Okay, because sigma sigma cancel out. Okay, na? So we can say that here G effective is equal to how much? That is G into 3 by 4. So we are getting 3 by 4 here. Now time period is equal to how much? That is how much? Time period of liquid is 2 pi root L upon 3 by 4 into G. So 3 by 4 into G, then we can say that this time period of the pendulum initial will be how much? That is T. So we can say that T liquid is equal to T, means already root 3 is given to you, that is root 3 by 2. So root 3 cancel out, it is 2 seconds. Okay, so we can say that the time period of this will be 2 seconds. That option number C is the correct one, right? Now whenever I am talking about the next question here, in the next question, again the question asking in 2023, they say that xt graph is given to simple harmonic motion as shown in figure. Then acceleration of this at t is equal to 2. Here they are asking to acceleration. So x equal to how much? That is a sine omega t, right? V is equal to how much? That is a cos omega t, and acceleration become how much? Minus omega square a sine omega t. Clear to you now? So these are the graph is given to you. So a is equal to how much? Now what is omega here? Omega is equal to 2 pi by, see this 2 pi means the total graph, right? And time is given to 8. So omega is equal to 2 pi by 8. So I am putting the values here, and already they say that the amplitude of this will be given to you 1, because this is one value. See this. So amplitude we are taken, this acceleration we are finding to you, that is amplitude become 1 meter, right? And the time is already given to you how much? That is 2 seconds. So we are putting all the formula here. That is omega is equal to how much? Minus of 2 pi by 8 chi square into 1 sine, that is 2 pi by 8 into 2. So whenever I cancel this, this become how much? 4. 4 means 2, that pi by 2. So we can say that 2 pi by 8 minus of 2 pi by 8 square, this become 4, okay, into sine pi by 2. Sine pi by 2, okay, acceleration is this. So we can say that pi square by 16 is the correct option here. The pi square by 16 means option number C is correct option according to given option, right? Now that's for today. We are talking about last slide. Now keep learning, okay, and try to give your best. If you have any doubt, let me know in the comment box. Okay, we'll discuss in the next session. Okay,